So
सर को
our session is
को
happiness and wisdom. अब बंद कर दो अपनी बातचीत.
राइट सर
हाँ. Happiness and wisdom. We are doing a series, and we have come to the value. Perhaps you have understood the value. How to understand the value in our daily life? I think we all are almost 40 and over 40. The stage of normal maturity, normal, is around 20 years old, right? Now we start thinking, I-ness is developed. I'm talking of value in a different way. Go back to your life, you are 20 years old. You did not, but just I'm telling you an example. You misbehaved or reacted with someone whose impression is still present in you. How you should have behaved. Now, now you understand. You had a relationship with someone, you reacted to it, how you should have behaved now. Those impressions are still present in your mind. You see, I'm talking of the past impressions and prarabdha. Do you see that? How you should have behaved. Instantly, your mind says, no, I should have behaved like this. What is that behavior now you are thinking is a value? What happened? We think of discernment and dispassion as a theoretical concept, and now you know. Because of that value, the discernment and dispassion has entered into your mind instantly. Oh, I should have. I reacted to that. When I reacted, I lost a job, I lost the money, I lost my relationship, and it gave me a pain. I should not have done that particular behavior, that particular reaction, that particular. I should not have been into anxiety. Are you understanding that? Go back. And then look at the principles of Eastern wisdom, how it works. How it works. And that is why I say, how many times have you been anxious, fear? You have a fear, you have a duality, you have a confusion last week, since the last session. Did you get it? I said you are 20 years old. Now you experience lot of challenges in your life until now. Now look back those challenges. Find out the response you should have given. If you are given an opportunity to correct your responses, how you should have given. We all commit mistakes, including me. Yes, we all commit mistakes. How you should have. Then you will remember what is the value. What is this value? What is this true marriages? Because of that values you have in, you are living in the present moment. There is no question of anxiety, fear, and duality. That is why I say, how many times have you applied Eastern wisdom to return to the happiness and wisdom? In the last week, did you apply it? Now we have been attending these sessions for many years. We should start living totally in a different level of consciousness. So it means I'm applying that in daily life to my relations, to my friends, and I start expressing my life, my behavior, tone, and everything changes. I don't carry the burden the way I behaved with my parents or my relations or so called I labeled as my enemy and their friends. Can I change that? Why? Because I have to reach to the highest state of consciousness. Are you getting it? It will bring that choiceless awareness, it will bring the living in a moment, and it is a transformative process. It is an inner transformative process. You are a great seeker. What seeker says will influence. Definitely it will influence. But there are people who do not want to listen. Let them come and go. Even in your family, even in your relations, we don't worry about it. Absence of the value and absence of these two marriages, the mind works at default, impulsive nature, reactive nature, and it works like animals. Mind becomes the worst master, and then we suffer. That is why I told you, go back, we are just think 20 years old. How many times you behaved with your parents you should not have done? How many times you have behaved with your relationship, close relationship, husband and a wife, you should not have done it. We all commit mistakes. So from these principles you look back, and when you look back you see that series of events have taken place which has strained my relationship, which created millions of impressions, which disturbed me for weeks and months. I should not have done it. Are you getting it? That is the power of this value. You may be thinking it is so easy. No, it is not easy. And that is why I say we have to do the practice, we have to apply it every day in our life. Every day of life. What is applying in everyday life is karma yoga. That is what the karma yoga. Without karma yoga, we cannot transform. Without karma yoga, I do not remember this is my duty and it is your right. I place the right of others first and I perform my duty. Another way to understand the value. Otherwise, what is going to happen? Do you remember? Knowledge, teacher, intellect, prarabdha, vasana, emotion, feeling, and devotion in the mind. Value system. Think. It's purely logical. It has nothing is hidden. Nothing is no religious concept. We are explaining everything. Mind perceives the situation, relations, people, time, event. Mind number one experiences these events by prarabdha, by vasana, by pleasure seeking of any event and situation and time. You are bound to have anxiety. You cannot stop it. You can hide it, but you cannot stop it. Mind number two, with the value. Perception is different. Situation is same, person is same, relationship is the same. Are you getting it? Because the intellect got married to the knowledge, mind with an emotion married to the intellect. Mind number two. Mind number one goes like this. I give you another understanding of this value. Intellect has a right knowledge. We are learning Eastern wisdom for so many years and it is settled. Mind performed a particular action, intellect evaluates. Evaluates. Value has come. Look at the subtle nature of understanding. Intellect evaluates. And the intellect evaluates and it says, I should not have behaved like this. So you create a multiple impressions. You create a multiple impressions. Past impressions. That is going to take over your future life. I believe you are understanding that. If you contain those past impressions, your mind will react and behave in the same manner as it was behaving earlier, even after attending these sessions. Intellect has evaluated, but it is not applied. I'm using the common words in English. In India and Sanskrit, it's very easy. They have given a very specific word for it. Intellect evaluates. Value. Intellect says, I should have not done this. I should not have done it. But what happens, the intellect says you should not have done it, but because of the ego, I continue to do it. So I continue to do it. I accumulate more impressions. I am suffering. Then I blame others. I create more impressions. I understand. That is why the master says, Vidya dadati vinayam. Humility, another meaning of the humility is that I check where is the ego factor working. The ego factor works with the past impression and the mind works as the master. So now let me get rid of it. Vidya dadati vinayam. Vinayam dadati patratam. Patratvat dhanamapnoti. Dhanat dharma tatah sukham. I have covered that. Knowledge received by the intellect gives humility in the mind. Value system. Evaluated. Humility qualifies to become a seeker, and the qualified seeker gives the wealth of wisdom, and the wealth of the wisdom leads to permanent happiness. Then I need not to worry about it. My response in a particular situation with the people in the think. We have to think. Now we are a seeker, so we have to do lot of contemplation. Values helps us to keep a distance. That is another part I want to work today. Evaluate, it has come value. So from evaluation, I got to a point of the value. That value says I should not have done this. Unnecessary I have created. I gave you one example. You might be remembering. Something happened in Ashok's life, and I said, "You also did it." I warned his wife. "You also did it. Now is the time to stop it." I'm not going into details. I warned his wife, "No, you have to stop it. You did the same thing. You are repeating the same thing. I don't know what you're doing. What they are doing, I don't know. I just passed on the wisdom, that's all." So, what happens? Value helps us to keep a distance from the mind number one. Those impressions are there, prarabdha is there. You know that you reacted against someone, that person comes in front of you, but now the value system helps you keep a distance. Sometimes fear also helps us to keep a distance. You have been eating sugar, you go to the doctor, doctor says, "Now, now." If you don't stop, so fear also creates a value. It helps sometimes. Doctor says overeating was a pleasure. Now introduce a value. Keep a distance. So what happens in this value after the two marriages that I have covered in few sessions? If you don't have the value, we are caught in duality. We are caught like a pendulum, seesaw. What is that pendulum? How much we run after something and how much we run away from something else. Two things. Loneliness. Why? Why loneliness? I am deeply attached to have a relationship. It may be physical, mental, or emotional. I did not find my real self. So I'm running away from something, I'm running after something. So that loneliness is because my mind is obsessed with running after. So you have a distance. Both. Value sits in between. Are you getting it? So apply the same thing in everything. Overeating, I'm running after. Doctor says running away. Doctor says running. They also talk of the same thing, but they don't know the root of it. This matters. We know it. Social media pleasure. So when I'm running after, there is an element of attachment, obsession, reaction, anxiety, anger, greed, delusion, ego. Running after. By understanding running away, so I created a value. Value helps us to keep a distance between this duality and a delusion. We are free all the time. We have a sense of freedom. No, we have a sense of freedom. What is that freedom? Many people tell me, discernment and dispassion is a theoretical principle. That keeping a distance, you have already cultivated discernment and dispassion. You need not to worry about it. You have that. When people send me the email or sometime I trigger to check. Not all, but sometimes I joke around and I check. Based on their response, you can easily make out it is coming from prarabdha, the past impression. So, because of discernment and dispassion, we have a balanced approach. Balanced approach means that balance, two sides of, I keep a distance. I'm in the middle. Why I'm in the middle? Because discernment and dispassion is awakened in me. Now the intellect has evaluated, mind has applied, you have no problem. Come on, you have no problem. That is the power of this Eastern wisdom. But it will happen only if you apply all the 8 steps. We discussed about the sin, we discussed about the pleasure seeking mind, we discussed about the pleasure seeking mind. So you see that application in terms of thinking, speaking, responding, and acting. Why? Because my mind inside has changed. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it. Now you understand why the repetition of these principles are required again and again until it is settled. Until it is settled. Settled. How do you know you are settled? That throughout the day, you have the same kind of the thoughts. Mind has a certain reaction. Intellect evaluates. Mind follows. The value system is applied, and you are done. You are happy. You are not applying those principles by suppression, by control, by regulation. It is just by clarity, by wisdom. That is the role of studying the Eastern wisdom. Again, I'm reminding you, you are 20 years old. Now pick up any event in your relationship with a person you have reacted, behaved. Now how you will behave with that. You have already evaluated, you have experienced the pain because of that. Now you know I should have behaved like this. That is your discernment and dispassion has given a value to it. Do you see that? Understand that clearly. The past cannot be retrieved. We have only one human life. We don't know what is going to happen after that. We don't know. Animals can't change. They cannot set a value. We can set a value. That is the importance of studying the Eastern wisdom, to study yourself. And then I told you in the second step is, they use the word ordained duties. Simple, duty and right. What is your right? I protect your right by performing my duty. Is a value system that you get by this process. In every activities. And then don't own that action. Don't own the doership of the action performed because of the value. Why? Because I'm not the body and the mind. Existence, let the existence take care of it. What will happen? Emotional intelligence will. But then the master warns in the 4th step, giving up desire prompted activities any pleasure seeking activities. I'm a foodie. We normally, I'm a very good foodie. Yes, wait for another 20 years. And if you meet me, then I will take you back 20 years. I will ask you to contemplate and reflect and find out what kind of a foodie you are, how many illnesses you have. It has become a fashion, life. Youngers, no, I had a relation with, I heard, so someone was explaining me the different terms. Benching. Do you know benching? There you know benching, backbenching. One girl was explaining to me, so I said, "Oh, this is benching." So I have a reserve relationship. I'm related to someone. I'm already what is we say, mating, or no? What is the word used in younger dating? Yes, I'm dating with one girl, and then I have another relationship. It means I sit on the bench. If that dating goes worse, I have a spare. Something like that. That is a something. I think Christina knows more in detail. Desire prompted, fourth. Very desire prompted, or pleasure seeking, or being foodie. I have to work on this. Now, now I cannot retrieve the past, but I can definitely change and transform my life. And then what happens because of that desire prompted activities? I create an unfavorable condition in my life. That is what I told you. Imagine you're 20 years old now. What you have done, how many times you have reacted, and you know that ripples of that effect is still perceived in your life, how you should have done differently. And then check your mind. Oh, there should not have been any problem. No unfavorable condition in your life. You know, what the world offers me, the cold weather and the hot and other stuff, the nature of the world I cannot change, but I can change the response because of the value system. So I don't get caught up in unfavorable situation. What is this unfavorable situation? Think in that term. I'm running after, I'm running away. I'm very lonely. So now just examine both the factors. I'm running after, I'm running away. I'm rich or poor, I'm running after, I'm running away. Value, keeping a distance. What is that keeping a distance? You awaken to that discernment and dispassion naturally. But without doing all these 8 steps, you cannot reach to that recognizing the defects. Now, because I have to set a value permanently in order to progress, the 6th step, we say that recognizing the defects in the worldly pleasure. Any pleasure. Any pleasure has 2 elements: running after, running away. Running after, attachment, obsession, foodie, dating and benching, and then there is another word, backbenching. I have to learn from this girl. She will join me next week. So, do you see that? How these. I also explained you the 2 wings. One is the discernment and other is the dispassion. One is the happiness and other is the wisdom. Without wisdom, you cannot have the happiness, permanent state of the happiness. We discussed that in detail. That is what now see the master says. The ninth step is seek the company of a teacher of the Eastern wisdom. We have been learning the ninth step for a couple of these sessions. The master says in a very simple language that seek the company of the teacher of the Eastern wisdom. Why? Because he will explain about these two marriages, the value system that is not written. It is written in a cryptic language. It is not present. It is not open. It is not explained. Why it is not explained? Because those seekers, if you are a non seeker, you study it, you will wash. Your mind will wash away. Oh, let us leave it. Or we will exploit these principles in a negative way. So many of these principles are hidden, their explanation is hidden in the verse. The 10th step says, cultivate the steady devotion to the Lord, to the existence. I've already explained you by another verse, the humility gives rise to, knowledge gives the humility, humility makes you qualified seeker gives you the wealth of the wisdom, and the wealth of the wisdom leads to permanent happiness. Cultivate. Then the 7th step, we will go deeper into that, how that value or these two marriages or value that keeps a distance awakens in you the inner treasures. That is our 11th step. That is our 11th step in the journey. Think. So we discussed today these 8 steps with reference to the two marriages. The mind sets the value, and now that value, and you pick up, it is always a good practice that pick up what are the gray areas in your mind or the brain which is constantly haunting you, which prompts you to react and become agitated. Go back and contemplate and reflect. How should I have acted in that situation? And repeat that in your head. And you will see your mind will calm down. But also the mind will cultivate the habit. What is that habit? Now the mind becomes the faithful servant instead of a worst master. If you don't apply that in your life, how are you? Why you are looking like this? No, I'm simply asking, how are you? And no, you are staring at me. You are mocking at me. It comes from the past impression. I'm running away and I'm running after. I can give you many examples that takes place. When I start coaching those people, I hear those words. I enjoy that. Based on their level, yes, I give other principles. So we awaken to that inner treasures of the wealth. The mind becomes very clear. Now that mind becomes a great seeker or a higher level of a seeker to approach that real self. Let us start. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. And ready for meditation. Place, position, and posture. Shutting out all the external sense context. Is it a part of the value? I'm just asking you to reflect on it. I'm aware of the surrounding, and suddenly my mind goes to the kitchen because I'm foodie. My mind goes to that person with whom I reacted. You have to awaken to those things. How it will happen? By regular practice, by committing to it. Aware of the surrounding, the space, the sound, and the smell, and the objects of the senses, and position of the body in which eyes are closed, with awareness that closing of the eyes is a symbolic to keep a distance of the senses from the objects, and especially now in meditation journey, being comfortable and being carefree. Being comfortable. Are you settled in the comfort? Comfort within and convenience. I will take up that also issue. Yeah, that's also a good topic. Settled in the comfort behind and beyond the current state of the mind. No duality, no conflict in the mind. And that gives you the experience of sensation, comfort, and steadiness, my friend, being carefree. You all are seekers, so I'm not explaining in detail. You are carefree. And then you are aware of the flow of the breath. No, I changed it. So just become aware of the flow of the breath. So flow of the breath, let us take it. It is a value. It is abstract, but it is real. So I made it real, maintaining awareness and attention on the flow of the breath to continue with the wisdom. And now, from that wisdom, I look at the neighbor number one is the world outside. Time, space, and objects, constantly changing. There I become foodie, I get attached, I'm running. You see the problem? I'm running away and running after. Where? In the world, from the world, by the world, to the world. That is the greatest delusion. Second neighbor is the physical body. Physical body, sensation, association. Third neighbor is the energy, the breath is the life. Yes, I have to talk about what exactly is the life. Life is not a situation, not an event, not a reaction, not an anger, not a pleasure. Something more than that. And the fourth neighbor is the mind. We all have dualities coming from I did not set the right value. Only two sets, running after, running away, if you just check your mind. And if these two are there, it will cause reaction. And the fifth one, I-ness, and the intellect. Sixth one is the ignorance, and beyond that, we know Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. If the mind has already set a value or married to the intellect, it constantly reminds me that the peace is my essential nature. And while witnessing, separating those thought, feeling, and emotions of the same thing, I'm concluded. running away, running after. That contains at least 5 steps out of the 8 steps. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. Completeness, sense of incompleteness from the intellect, the I thought. So it blocks my real self due to ignorance, and then the intellect says, run after, running away. You see, very easy to pick up. And then the intellect evaluates, and you retrieve your steps. They are dropped. You keep a distance. You don't enjoy the pleasure? No, you enjoy it. The value, yes. Food is, I should take food that I like it, I tasty, but Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, that brings auspiciousness in our life. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. How easy to understand it, but to apply and practice demands consistency, looking deep inside the forehead, in the space, dropping Om Shanti, maintaining sensation, relaxation and stillness in the body, and then start breathing long, deep in the hissing breath into your rib cage. Om Shanti should also continue. Do not stop that. Do not stop it. Continue. We'll have to do the practice for the entire session, for a couple of sessions, maybe 50 or 60 minutes, to see and check whether the value system continues throughout that 50 or 60 minutes. Long, deep in the hissing breath, Om Shanti, stillness continues. You are continuing. Long, deep in the hissing breath, in the state of the stillness in the body. And Om Shanti, you are dropping. You might be realizing that, Om Shanti has come after a long time. It's okay. It is okay. We are checking also by this breathing and dropping the Om Shanti that does the mind follows the value or not. Continue breathing long, deep in the hissing breath. And now stop it. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. Flow of the breath is equal or otherwise, but you continue to pay attention to the breath. And in that state, start dropping Om Shanti on the 16 segments of fingers. Again, to check the mind continues to remain within. It does not pick up any objects of the senses. It means two things, that those objects is there in the field of awareness, but the mind is not, neither running away, not running after. There is an intense desire for the real self because that is how this value system works. I'm not running away from anything in the world outside. Then what is left? The mind will still desire. So let us desire real self. Now move the mind inside the heart. Visualize the triangle of any color and start moving the mind on the side of it. Triangle dropping on Shanti clockwise and anti clockwise. And consciously, it's a conscious journey. You check the sync is taking place. Your mind has no objection to it. That is the meaning of syncing. And if that happens, that is the right moment, pushing the mind deep inside the cave of your heart while singing mentally. And you're still watching. The mind seems to stop. The moment it seems to stop, you simply mentally say Shanti and do nothing. You will experience as if you are left or you are thrown into a place of doing nothing, be almost nothingness. But conscious, you are conscious of that. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. If you have any question, you can ask any question. So, how are you, Dennis?
Comfortable, deep meditation, a lot of sensations after the breathing, and deep dark space at the end, thinking.
Good. Very good experience. How are you, Stephen?
Good, sir. Thank you. I really like the value system. When you introduced it, I thought about it a lot over the weekend, and it led on a very high level led to seeing that putting a value system in place really engages the discernment and dispassion. And listening to today's lesson actually took it down to more detail of the importance of valuing, and one of the examples that I thought of was that we all know that we're pursuing, peace and happiness, love and wisdom, but are we actually valuing that? And if we put the value on that, then we now know we have to do all the steps to get to it and not just take them for granted. And that leads into my meditation. With that thought going into meditation was, I know when we share our experiences, everybody talks about when we get to the heart center where it becomes dark and deep and whatever. And in the, when I sit down and close my eyes to begin with, I'm always waiting to get to that point of my meditation. But today, the value system, I valued every step along the way. And this was a completely different meditation than I've had before, because every part of it was contributing to get me to that end point, to where what Dennis pointed out about sensation, there was energy sensations going through my body that I hadn't felt before, just swirling through it. And again, I'm trying to not get caught up in is that the mind trying to go with me on this thing, but I was just in this dark, quiet place with these sensations going on, and I just hadn't felt that. So I'm hoping it's this value system, and we'll continue from there.
Beautifully said. You see, it is so simple, but yet it is very challenging. If we do not understand the past impression, the prarabdha, and other factors contributing to my anxiety, my stress, my obsession, my mind evaluates with reference to running away and running after. Now the intellect evaluates with reference to the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom. That brings a tremendous change. That is what you explained beautifully. I have to, and you live into that value system. It is a point of awareness, nothing less, nothing more. When we live into that point of awareness, the life changes, transforms, and it helps us to absorb deeper into our real self. Beautifully said. How are you, Samir?
So many times I think that the world seems to be total fictitious to me. I'm running for happiness outside. I'm not getting it. I'm running inside for happiness. I'm getting it. And the inner world is becoming more a reality to me than the outside world.
Beautiful.
Means
If I say you are crazy, how it affects you? It affects you badly. Then obviously the world has given you have given value to the word. You have given value to the statement. You did not discern, and you did not remain in the state of a dispassion. Then there is a problem. So yes, you are right 100%. The intellect should evaluate one, the world, it has a value now. That value has to be applied in my daily life to bring the result. Otherwise, the result will not come. That needs to be understood. That is what he is saying. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. I love the lesson today. I years back had a value system that I used to follow, but it was missing something, and you've provided today the missing something, and that's sort of what Samit was talking about the inner peace, looking for that. So it'll give me the opportunity to adjust my value system. So I loved it. Thank you. My meditation was very deep.
Good. Very good. Yes, it is self explanatory. Yes, you have to start with the two marriages, and then you have to find out the mind emotionally connected to the knowledge that give rise to the value system. So we are fully aware of that value in every situation. But the mind runs after the value of running away and running after. So the intellect has to evaluate to get the value set right, and we start changing. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. I also love the value system. There's just tremendous opportunity there to break those patterns and past impressions and not keep making the same mistakes. And I've found it in my own life as I increase my awareness, I still learn by going back, because I think sometimes I thought I was sorted there, but there's still a lot to learn from those past mistakes.
Yes.
And going forward, then I can apply that. And I also really appreciate the duty and
Right.
and the right of others. So if we're always keeping that in the forefront, that keeps it pretty simple.
You are right, Jerry, because even I see that it took years to get rid of those reactions which I had against my parents, especially my dad. It took years because some events popped up in my mind, and then I said, "Oh, what's happening?" So it's a constant learning. I admit that. And once you bring about the change in your life, then what happens? The mind lives into that state of peace and the calmness, because it has awakened the six treasures that we are going to discuss in our following sessions. You rightly said. How are you, Christina?
Thank you so much. I'm continually surprised about the impulsivity during the practice that the mind keeps pulling. And then the value system today really helped to just, let it go and come back. And there was just this slow settling.
Yes.
And the impulsivity just disappeared.
You are right, because if you have a right knowledge, then the intellect says let it go, it will go. But if you don't have a right knowledge, mind is already obsessed, then it will not go. That is where modern psychology says suppression. So we are not saying suppression, we are saying sublimation. We are sublimating because now I understand what is happening. But in modern psychology, they twist and they twist our principles of Eastern wisdom. They say, no, there is nothing in it. Let them say, because they are already suppressing their emotions. So I have nothing to say to them. I have nothing to say to them. No, not you, Christina, you are doing. So that is why I left that modern psychology. I kept it aside. You see, that let it go comes from where? Let it go comes from the conflict of running after and running away. It will create a lot of problems. Now evaluate. You evaluate. Now you have a value. Let it go. I have to keep a distance with both. Finished. "70-year-old women, not another woman, she said, I feel so lonely. Now lonely, I am running away from something because I'm running after something. So it means my mind has not transformed yet. My mind has not transformed. Very easy to, or you can say in form of value, or you can say in the form of two marriages. Yes, how are you, Shok?
नमस्ते सर।
Namaste, sir.
सर मैंने ना मोबाइल पे कर लिया क्योंकि मोबाइल का कैमरा चल रहा है।
अच्छा, तुम अभी तक वहीं पे फंसे हुए हो?
नहीं, मैं तो खाली बताना चाह रहा हूँ कि सर मैंने ना इसको जैसे हम अटैचमेंट एंड डिटैचमेंट है ना, तो इट इज लाइक दैट, रनिंग अवे एंड रनिंग आफ्टर द थिंग्स विच विद whom I am attached, तो I will run after that. So it has to be, I mean, for me it has to be, I have to be careful and I have to be aware कि with
Yes.
whom I am attached and with whom I am not, with whom I am detached, you can say.
You have to be extra careful to your honey. Your honey will fight with me.
Sir, yes, I
So
understand.
listen to it again. Then there
वो तो
will be.
गालियां पड़ती रहती हैं।
Okay.